saw Public Works ripping us off with all those backdoor negotiations for those high-rise communities for downtown. All of the development committees, not one improvement for infrastructure, not one monetizing things for infrastructure, other than a gerrymander like me. That's the protest of the block. What you do for does the attorney know what I'm talking about? No. BWP is a bit soft. Everybody overcharging, overbilling, 30 minutes. How dare they stand there in disbelief that we're being overcharged? Mr. Davis, who's Big Mike? Big Mike Davis is stuck on the train again. He has his work. He never asked for the work. All my life I wanted to be a nigger, treated by the government as a white nigger. You have to treat me as a nigger after all this. Right, Mr. Cosine? Mr. Cosine. You have a call? My phone is going to start moving.
Do I get these to you, ma'am, or to the city clerk?
Did you know that San Gabriel has been giving us dirty water? I'll never live dirty water.
Good morning to everyone here at the Board of Public Works meeting. We'll get started shortly. If there's anyone on the Zoom attending who would like to make a general public comment or comment on one of the items on the agenda today, please go ahead and raise your hand so we can get your information for general public comment or commentary on one of our agenda items today. Thank you. We'll get started shortly.
All you need is 4, 5, 6, 7, 4, 5, 6, 7.
Mom and Teresa.
$12 billion sold in contaminated water years. Yeah.
David, how was your Jubilee? Any watermelon, or in the pie, and those green-eyed peas?
Ms. Zatorsky, if we could just get started.
Great. We'll go ahead and get started. Seeing we have quorum, we have Vice President Villegas, President Pro Tem Davis, and Commissioner Corsand all present. We are now in record mode. Again, good morning, everyone. Devin Zatorsky with the Board of Public Works, establishing quorum again, VP Villegas, President Pro Tem Davis, and Commissioner Corsand all present. We're also joined by City Attorney Representative Ms. Daryl Field, and we have 3 general public comments, no neighborhood council commentary, and public comment under each of the agenda items today. So we can go ahead and get started.
Thank you, and welcome everybody to the regularly scheduled meeting for today, June 21st, 2024. I'm going to take this opportunity to wish my daughter a happy birthday.
Very good.
Yeah. And let's start out today's meeting. I'm just going to make a few changes. I'm going to take public comment at the very end. And I'm going to take item number 7 first. But before we do that, why don't we do approval of the minutes for Wednesday, June 5th, 2024. And do we have a second to my motion? All right, Ms. Zatorsky, we have a second to my motion to approve the meeting minutes for Wednesday, June 5th, 2024.
Great, we'll take the roll call beginning with you, Vice President Villegas,
Aye.
President Pro Tem Davis,
Aye.
and Commissioner Corsian.
Aye.
Great, all approved. The item is adopted and carries forthwith.
Thank you. All right. Why don't we take item number 7 first? And this is, just before you come up, I'm going to have to take public comment. But this is the status of major upcoming street improvement projects by the Bureau of Street Services. Sorry, let's start with Dr. Williams. Do you have public comment for item number 7?
Okay, Dr. Tom Williams, El Sereno, 30-some-odd year resident out there. For street improvements, I'd like to do a Public Records Act request for the specifications and contracts for any of the improvements, specifically ADA requirements for any sidewalk and or corner intersection ramps. So it's basically, from my general public comments, it's been 50 years since we had the city engineer of Berkeley, California, get in a wheelchair and try to go over a half-inch lip on the first ramp, I think, in the United States. So I say after 50 years, there's very bad compliance and somebody pays for it. So I don't know what is going on regarding the specifications, the inspections by Public Works, and payments for doing work that has not been verified. So I'm quite concerned about it. If you go down on Broadway to the mid-block crossings, you'll find that some of them don't exist with ramps. Broadway? So we're quite concerned about that. So it's basically ADA compliance for item number 7 and all of the contracts that are going to be done. I can take by digital forms or in hard copy, and I am familiar with Broadway, so I can visit offices if necessary. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, we have Mr. Greenspan. Correct.
Mike Greenspan. Yes, I'm here to lobby. I don't mean a paid lobbyist, just a citizen, because we're talking about street improvements. Those, what I always call jigsaw pieces of missing street, 2 of them actually make a pothole when they're connected. And you guys are about 15/100ths of a mile away when you did Stagg and Lancashire and repaved. And when you repaved, you cut some corners. Instead of putting all the asphalt you should have, you thickened the paint to make the crosswalk bigger. Bigger, thicker, and less asphalt for the street. But I'm still lobbying for Saticoy, east of Lancashire. It's in the Sun Valley end of North Hollywood. I'm sure none of you folks have ever been out there. I'm sure you don't even know where it is. It's far from downtown, in the comfort of the room. Everything else, why, we can't even get 5 of you Board of Public Works commissioners at a meeting to hear the issue. But I do want to keep talking about it. There's lots of improvements in District 2 that need to be done, but we're not the Paul Krikorian end. So we're the outcasts. We're the people that are always getting fucked by people like Krikorian. He only cares about NoHo, the Red Line station, just emptying out the parking lot and building more buildings to supplement the current empty vacant buildings with for lease signs. It's time to work on the streets in the area where we go and get our front ends disaligned for being such shitty condition. So once again, Saticoy east of Lankershim needs to be repaved.
All right, next speaker, starting with the letter N.
For your information on the record, it's pronounced nigger, capital N. Now, dealing with the street improvement projects here, similar to DuPont and 3M on this memorandum of bullshit improvements, there's something very fishy going on with our projects. And that, as you heard by the two speakers before me, that they allege that you motherfuckers are not providing us with safe, friendly access, not only in medians, not only at intersections, not only at crosswalks, but through the entire Ventura project phase. And there's something wrong with this bond amount. It seems very inadequate, especially when DuPont and 3M are going to pay out in a settlement of $12.5 billion, for the record. Let me correct my numbers. $12.5 billion in a settlement on that memorandum, which I incorporate into the record today because I'm giving you an example about corruption. I'm giving you ideas of why this city and the niggers that work for us are engaged in a patting and greasy palm of their wallets. And I'm not going to tolerate this shit. Because I'm the only voice besides the other two individuals who are speaking out on the safety of our access, our tactile, and our curb cuts and our ramps that you and that fucked up governor, whatever his fucked up name is, Gavin Newsom, have been doing for years. Nothing. Fuck you, Gavin Newsom.
All right, let's take up item number 7, and this is an oral report, and this is going to be by Mr. Jorge Garcia. Welcome.
Good morning, Ms. Villegas.
Good morning.
Commissioners. Oh, I'm sorry. Good morning, my name is Jorge Garcia, Superintendent with Streets for No Division of Streets LA. And this information is being provided to keep the public informed on the upcoming resurfacing projects and to minimize the impact on the community as well as delays. For additional information or concerns, you can contact our coordinating section for Streets for No Division at 213-847-3200. The following streets projects are scheduled in the Metro and Valley regions during the week of June 23rd to June 29th, 2024. Saturday, June 22nd to Sunday, June 23rd from 6 a.m. to 6 p.m. We will co-mill and pave Hollywood Boulevard, Taft Avenue to Gower Street in CD 13, Hollywood United Neighborhood Council, and Hollywood Studio District Council Creative Preservation Program Fund. Additionally, I will provide an update for our 23-24 paving preservation program. During the week of June 23rd through June 29th, 2024, the Valley and Metro regions will complete 23 projects for a total of 11.77 lane miles. Now, the press releases were distributed and notifications have been issued. Streets LA has coordinated with the council office to assist with the outreach to stakeholders. We have coordinated with the Los Angeles Department of Transportation for traffic control assistance. This information is also available on the Streets LA website at streetsla.lacity.org using the Resurfacing Open Projects icon. And that would conclude this week's oral report.
Thank you.
Do you have any questions?
Do we have any questions, commissioners? We don't have any questions. We're good with this. Thank you.
Thank you. You guys have a good
All right, have a good weekend. All right, commissioners, I'm going to take item number 6 next, since it is only a form of communication with us. And item number 6, I think we have 2 speaker cards on this. Mr. Greenspan. Mr. Greenspan. One more time, Mr. Greenspan. For the record, it is my responsibility to call out the members. Security, if you can let the gentleman out, please. He's disturbing our meeting.
Okay, Mike Greenspan. Gee whiz, I forgot to bring my Santa hat. Yes, ho, ho, ho. Bond to release stop notice, Baker Electric Incorporated. Oh, what did they do now? After all, this thing didn't just go on uninterrupted. Something must have happened. Did a grand jury meet and maybe coming with an upcoming indictment or something for misuse of funds? I mean, when things get stopped, unless maybe they just don't know that they just found a brick building underneath the ground, because like downtown over here by that museum in Alameda and Temple, they found a bunch of bricks, a brick structure parking lot as they started digging. But unless you've done that, then there should be no reason the work should stop. Once we start it, unless some hanky-panky's gone on. And, hey, I don't care whether these people that have done misuse of funds, I'm not prejudiced. I don't care if they go to Terminal Island, Leavenworth, or Atlanta Federal Prison. If they've misused our money, they need to be doing jail time as if they're an Englander or a Weezer or a Ridley Thomas. No exceptions. I don't care who your family is. I don't care if you're Bugsy Siegel and they let you out every day from county jail to go in your chauffeur-driven limousine for a haircut and lunch. I don't care. I just want, we pay good money for this stuff. It should proceed in a timely manner, getting done good, competent work, not something that you have to come back to and patch it up because they cut corners. Remember, this is not a Boeing flight where they're cutting corners over there at the factory. These are our roads and our other services that make the nuts and bolts of a city go. No, it's not the glamour issue, but it's probably the most important thing. I'll bet you probably everybody in this room came here on something built by Public Works.
Next person, starting with the letter N.
The N stands for nigga. Niggas. We're dealing with an electric INC project here, niggas. And before I go any further, you know, if you're gonna not tolerate my First Amendment right, you need to give me a warning if you plan to kick me out of a public meeting, because you're hiding something. And I want the FBI to know that you motherfuckers don't give no warnings. They can't tolerate no one's outbursts, and there's no warning. They eject you. The same way I'm trying to eject the
Stick to
stop
the
payment
topic
notice.
for item number
God
6.
damn, lady, I'm talking about the stop payment, and you're interrupting my 1 fucking minute, just like I said. Where's the fucking warning, Mr. Davis? Tell your president there that I got every motherfucking right to stop the payment on this notice for these fucking projects as Baker Electric Incorporation under C-140032 without any communication from an interruption from this fucking fat bitch, filed on May 10th, 2024. So, like I said, there's no warning, there's no bond, there's no warning, there's no release of motherfucking money, motherfuckers. The money is not a money tree. The money is to pay people to do an honest job. And it's apparent that you're not doing your job right, because you heard there was no warning. She ejected a man because he's white, all because he stood up for another gentleman who's hard of hearing, disabled and deaf, 70-year-old fucking Greenspan, who should pay attention when these niggers call his name out on item 6 on Fidelity and Deposit Companies of Maryland. I wave my balance sign to you dumb motherfuckers.
All right, item number 6 is communications, and this is a bond release to stop notice, Baker Electric Incorporated, and Fidelity and Deposit Company of Maryland are transmitting a bond to release money withheld on stop payment notice filed EBS General Engineering Incorporated, bond amount of $57,394.16 for work done in connection with the Reimagine Ventura Project Phase 1. The project contractor for this project is Baker Electric, and this is C140032, communication number 122643, file May 10th, 2024. And on this item, we don't have a staff member on this as a speaker. So Ms. Torsky, do we just file a motion to approve this item?
Correct. We need a motion and a vote on this item.
All right. And
Second.
all right. And Ms. Torsky, we have a motion by Pro Tem Davis and a second by Commissioner Corsan.
Great. We'll take the roll call, starting with you, Vice President Villegas.
Aye.
President Pro Tem Davis.
Aye.
And Commissioner Corsan.
Aye.
All ayes, the item is adopted and carries forthwith.
Thank you. All right. Let's go back then to item number 1 on our agenda, and this is the Bureau of Engineering. And this is a task order solicitation number 32 for SOMAS. Authorize the city engineer to issue the task to SOMAS for the pre-qualified on-call civil engineering services consultants list to provide boundary and mapping survey civil engineering services for the Sepulveda Basin Boundary Mapping Survey Project as slated in task order solicitation number 32 with the budget authority of $1 million, including contingency. And this is work order E1909120, C134269. And before us on this, we have Mr. Stephen Fierce.
Thanks. Good morning, Commissioner.
I apologize, Mr. Fierce. I must take public comment on this item before we, yeah, my mistake. All right, person with the letter G.
Okay, Mike Greenspan, and what are we doing this time? Or maybe I should say, how are we misusing our public money, hard-earned public money? Well, a task order solicitation. Oh my God, this is a cheapie. It's a budget authority of $1 million. I mean, what's $1 million in a city with a 12 to $13 billion budget? Of course, that budget is at least $450 million in the red, and in business there are two colors, red and black. Black is good, red is bad, and we seem to want to operate in red ink and wonder why things don't get done right. Well, because we're always scrambling to get more money because we've misused what we've had. And then we go, well, we need more money, this thing costs more. No, you wasted it. You wasted it, you absconded with it, you misused it, and then you go for more money and cry, more money, and you just get it rubber stamp, rubber stamp, rubber stamp. Nobody ever looks over things. I always hear about, well, we've got this to look over and this to look over, and just like the mayor's inside safe, we aren't looking over anything. We're just rubber stamping and spending like there's no tomorrow, just so you come in, get your good paychecks, earn your pensions, get out of here, and we're left holding the bag with nothing. Well, we might get this fixed and we might get that fixed, but it's a very iffy thing. So now we have a TOS, task order solicitation for PASOMAS in Council District 4 and 6, and I'm curious to see how long this thing's going to take, and I'm curious to see what the results are. I actually live next to each of those districts.
All right, next speaker on this item starts with the letter N.
So yeah, we got CD4 and CD6, starting off with Cunt Birria noodles and that Fat Valley girl teacher cunts. Dealing with the $1 million for the supposed basin boundary mapping survey project. How many goddamn surveys do we need? Why can't you dumb motherfuckers figure it out and just get the ball rolling and the construction trucks in the basin and make that a national motherfucking park for us niggas to put our tents there and live like the mayor wants us to live in goddamn fucking tents on the sidewalks and streets in Los Angeles, California. Just like that dumb fucked up building the engineers built down there on Skid Row for $600,000 a unit to house homeless niggas. So the city engineer will issue to the PSOMAS pre-qualified civil engineering service consultants. Well, you don't need a goddamn consultant. You heard what I said. Bring the wrecking crew, bring the construction trucks, bring the dump loaders, and let's get fucking working. We can't fix problems in CD4 and CD6 without the order of the public. I, being a white motherfucker too, according to my Phoenix documents, I grew up in Arizona as a Native American motherfucker with a bad attitude under the NWDA of Compton because the color of my skin. You racist motherfuckers continue not to provide us with the real issues and tasks regarding the Bureau of Engineering. Fuck you.
All right. Mr. Fierce, if you want to present on this item, a task order solicitation number 32 for SOMAS.
Yes, good morning. The Sepulveda Basin serves as a flood control facility, and it's under the ownership and management of the United States Army Corps of Engineers, Army Corps of Engineering. And the Department of Recreation and Parks leases over 1,500 acres of land, with additional areas leased by LA Sanitation and Environment for the Tillman Treatment Plant. So currently, the Department of Recreation Parks is collaborating with the United States Army Corps of Engineering to draft a new lease agreement and replacing the current one, which is set to expire in 2042. The data is crucial for accurately defining the boundaries of the intended new lease area, as well as identifying any existing easements, leases, permits, and licenses. It will also be useful in projects for the proposed Sepulveda Basin Vision Plan. Based on the approval of the Department of Recreation and Parks commissioners, the BOE was charged with the task of mapping out the current recreation areas under the lease and creating new legal descriptions and a digital map for the new recreation area boundaries approved by the United States Army Corps of Engineering. The BOE distributed the task number 32 to all 26 firms on the pre-qualified on-call civil engineering services consultants list. The pre-submission meeting was held and conducted on January 18th, 2024, and more than 20 company representatives were in attendance. Ultimately, one proposal was received from SOMAS with a total cost of $746,023. The BOE negotiated the total price down to $700,000, and on this task, SOMAS has met our business inclusion goals. The funding for this project comes from the Department of Recreation and Parks General Fund. And with that, that concludes my presentation.
I appreciate it. Thank you, Mr. Fierce, for your report. Commissioners, do we have any questions on this survey that SOMAS is going to be doing for us? I just have a quick question. I realize that this is under the jurisdiction of the Army Corps. Do we need permission from them, or how does that work? Or we have an agreement with Army Corps to?
Yes, there's a they currently have the current lease agreement, and this is all part of the negotiations.
All right. And once we get the survey completed, that'll be utilized for other improvements that we're going to be doing on the site?
It can be. It
Okay.
can be used. It's primarily going to be used for the new lease agreement as they resolve the various parcels.
All right, thank you.
Yeah. I wanted to ask about the funding. Most of the funding, you says, comes from local funds from Recreation and Parks. Is that correct?
That's correct. This is all funded from the Recreation Parks General Fund.
No federal funds are involved in this
There's
project
no
at
federal
all.
funds.
And in terms of the agreement that the Recreation and Parks is putting together with the Corps, the agreement currently lasts until what year?
2042.
And so they are putting together an agreement to extend past 42 to when?
The agreement that I don't believe that's determined at this point. It'll be extended out. Shun, do you know the date of that? This is Shun, the project manager. Do you know the date?
Yeah, good morning. Shunyu Zhang, civil engineer from BOE Architectural Divisions. So the new lease agreement is still actually under negotiation between Recreation Parks and the Army Corps of Engineers. I think the duration for that new lease probably is 50 years.
I'm sorry, I didn't hear the last.
50 years.
Oh, 50 additional years added to 2042, correct? It's already an agreement that is within the perimeters of now until 2042, right? Is that correct?
Yeah, the current lease agreement is in place until 2042.
Right.
But the future agreement is still to be determined. They still need to negotiate the lease terms. So the exact date, I don't believe is established at this point, but how long that will be.
Right.
Common agreements could be 50 years, though.
So there are 50-year agreements.
Mhm.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so we still have some time. Is there a time certain that we hope to have the additional agreement into the future finished? Is there some time certain that we intend to conclude our negotiations for the future agreement for the next 50 years? I mean, 42 obviously is sufficient time for us to, I guess, in many ways take our time, but I'm just interested in terms of the load of work. Do we have some goals set in terms of a deadline as to when we anticipate we will complete the negotiations for the next 50 years?
The first goal obviously was gonna be get this survey boundary done so that there's a basis to make those negotiations, and that's scheduled for 57 weeks, just slightly over a year. So that's our first milestone, and then the negotiations can move forward from there. And there are 25 parcels at the Sepulveda Basin.
Great. Well, I will just observe also that I'm pleased to know that the prime contractor was able to meet our expectations in terms of business inclusion.
Yes. Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you for noticing that or mentioning that this morning. All right, commissioners, do we have any other additional questions? No. Is there a motion to approve this item?
So moved.
Second.
All right, Ms. Satorsky, we have a motion by Pro Tem Davis and a second by Commissioner Corson.
Great, we'll take the vote. Vice President Villegas,
Aye.
President Pro Tem Davis,
Aye.
and Commissioner Corsian.
Aye.
Wonderful. All ayes. The item is adopted and carries forthwith.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And have a good weekend. I appreciate it. All right, let's move on then to item number 2. And for item number 2, first card we have is person with the letter N.
Nigga, current price. Yeah, current price. BPW 2024-0375. Tree removal of those 6 motherfucking trees. And why are you racist motherfuckers calling us Mexican fan palms when you know a tree is a tree? Why don't you ask the Native Americans about the goddamn oak trees that you don't like the Indian oaks, the ones that you cut down and replace with these little trees. You know, you people are just an insult to the integrity of the tree population. You know why? Because removal of any tree nowadays remains questionable whether or not we're going to continue to receive the ultra rays from the sun that are going to destroy your water wells, destroy your agriculture, and destroy you white motherfuckers too, because God hates you and you're going to hell. Leave the goddamn Mexican fans alone. They ain't bothering your ass. Work around them. You know how long it takes for God to make plants? A long time. But no, you racist, prejudiced motherfuckers just think about the dollar sign and the developer that you're helping to cut down 6 fucking trees. Yeah, we need them trees. You know why? It provides shade. Not like those fucking satellites you shoot up there burning the ozone so that we can continue to fry our ass on this planet. And that's why God hates you and you're going to hell. Because God told me in a dream that he's going to destroy the United States. Because you're all bad. Just like the days of Sodom and Gomorrah, God's going to rain down hellfire on your stupid negative activities.
All right, and then the next speaker that we have starts with the letter G. Speaker with the letter G. All right, and then this is item number 2, and this is in Council District number 9, tree removal, Avalon Boulevard from 56th Street to Manchester Avenue, recommending that the board, number 1, find that the tree removal is categorically exempt under section 15301, 15333, class 1 through class 33, and section 15332, class 32 of the State Environmental Quality Act guidelines, that there are no substantial evidence the proposed project will have significant effect on the environment and is in compliance with CEQA. Number 2, find that none of the exceptions to the use of categorical exemptions as set forth in section 15300.2 of the state's CEQA guidelines apply. Number 3, specify that the Bureau of Street Services Urban Forestry Division, located at 1149 South Broadway, is custodian of the documents or other materials that constitute the record of proceedings upon which the board's decision is based. And number 4, review and approve this tree removal permit request for the removal of 6 Mexican fan palms in relations to a complete street project. Tree replacements are required. And this is work order E1908427, and before us, we have Mr. Brian Ramirez.
Good morning, Honorable Board of Public Works. Again, Brian Ramirez with Streets LA. What we bring before you is, again, a request for this board to approve a no-fee permit to remove 6 Mexican fan palms to allow for street improvements in relation to a complete streets project, work order number E1908427. This is on Avalon Boulevard from 56th Street to Manchester Avenue, and tree replacements are required. The Bureau of Engineering is managing and designing the construction of the Avalon Boulevard improvements from 56th Street to Manchester Avenue for the Complete Streets program. This project includes Vision Zero, safety elements such as upgraded crosswalk markings, signage, traffic signal upgrades, curb extensions, street resurfacing, gutter and curb repair, installation of curb ramps, concrete bus pads, bioswales, and street trees. The project requires the removal of 6 street trees or palm trees, which is necessary to accommodate the proposed catch basin pipe, bioswale, dry well combinations required for the curb extensions. The BOE representative, Armando Medina, submitted an application for tree removal permit and related documents to Streets LA Urban Forestry Division for review. A UFD arborist inspected the subject site back in October 18th, 2022, and again on March 8th, 2024, to verify and address potential impacts to any street trees adjacent to the construction site. An inspection was performed and confirmed that a total of 6 Mexican fan palms would need to be removed to allow for these proposed improvements. The 6 Mexican fan palms are in good health, good to fair health. They measure approximately 18 to 20 inches in diameter by 50 to 55 feet in height, and they vary. They're planted in tree wells that vary in size. There's 2 palm trees, palm number 1 and number 4, which require removal to accommodate proposed catch basin pipe required for a curb extension. Another 3 palm trees, which are palm 2, palm number 3, and palm number 6, which require removal to accommodate a proposed storm drain pipe required for the curb extension. And the 6th palm, which is palm number 5, requires removal to accommodate a proposed bioswale slash dry well combination, and there is no feasible alternative location for this bioswale system without impacting another tree. As for the alternatives and methods that Streets LA explored, we do endeavor to retain healthy, mature street trees whenever possible. In this particular case, Streets LA held numerous meetings with Bureau of Engineering to ascertain the proper justification for tree removals. We discussed potential alternatives for tree preservation. There was an alternative option for palm number 6, which would require this angle point or a turn in the pipe to go around the tree to some extent, but this was determined to potentially pose a long-term maintenance and serviceability issues for that pipe. So due to the project's scope and tree's location, the possibility of tree preservation throughout construction was not feasible, and Streets LA recommends approval for the removal of 6 palm trees to allow for the proposed construction and related project improvements. As for the condition, if this board approves, the applicant or Bureau of Engineering through the contractors shall plant 12 24-inch box-size desert willow trees. In addition to these 12 trees satisfying the board's 2-to-1 replacement, the applicant will plant an additional 15 trees just for the project in its entirety, and this would total in 27 replacement trees within the project boundaries. All the replacement trees on site shall be watered for a minimum 5-year period after planting. As for the California Environmental Quality Act, the Department of Public Works Bureau of Engineering prepared the notice of exemption and determined that there was no substantial evidence that the proposed project would have any effect on the environment and is in compliance with the CEQA, California Environmental Quality Act. This project's NOE was utilized in forming this recommendation and is on file with Streets LA upon a request by the public. As for the notifications, public notifications, the 9th Council District was informed of the tree removal request on April 4th, 2023, and was to notify Streets LA of any objections which Streets LA did not receive. And public comments for this tree removal were to be heard here at this hearing today. In addition, the notice of proposed tree removals was physically posted on the subject trees on April 1st, 2023. Also, the Bureau's street tree removal notification system was updated. The Community Forest Advisory Committee, CFAC, and the Department of Neighborhood Empowerment were also notified of these tree removals. And Bureau of Engineering was also advised of the recommendations contained within this report. This concludes my presentation, and I'm open to any questions that the board may have at this time.
Thank you. And Pro Tem Davis, did you have questions?
Yeah, so these Mexican plants are protected trees, right?
They're street trees, and they require a permit for removal. But they are not the protected species under the protected tree ordinance.
I see. Okay, great. And I think that, did you tell us in terms of when this project will be complete?
I couldn't speak to the completion date. I can definitely follow up with Bureau of Engineering. I do know that this Complete Streets program was phased out, and it's entering the phase that these palm trees would need to be removed, hence this item being brought forth.
And you said that this will be a 4-to-1 replacement, is that right? Or
It meets the 2-to-1 replacement.
2-to-1?
It meets 2-to-1, but in addition, there's the tree planting element to the project, which would supersede the board's requirement at 2-to-1.
Great, thank you.
Thank you. And do we have any other questions? No. All right. I see this project started in 2020. Do you know why it took so long to get to our board?
I don't necessarily know. Again, I do recall some of the documents stating this is a phased project. So even though some initial reviews were done back in 2020, again, this project is entering the phase that these palm trees would be impacted. Hence, it's now coming to the board.
Okay, so if it was phased, where does it start?
I would,
Because today we're looking at 58th and Avalon
correct.
to, I just have to go back up to my report. But it doesn't seem like it's, I don't see anything in my records nor in my briefings that we've had in the past, Mr. Ramirez, that it was a phased project.
I made that statement based on the council file and transmittal number 6. On the,
That transmittal says Avalon Boulevard Complete Streets Projects Modified Scope.
correct.
But it doesn't necessarily give me the entire span. I see it. It's currently of the original 6 projects. Roscoe Boulevard, actually, these are the complete streets, not necessarily the entire strip of Avalon Boulevard. On the attachment that you mentioned, it says 6 projects, and those are the complete streets projects.
Complete streets.
That were included in the budget in 2020.
That's
I'm just
correct.
trying to ascertain where to where is this project going. If you don't know, you can just get back to me. That's fine too.
I could get back.
Yeah, that's fine. All right. Thank you for that, and I appreciate it. And thank you for bringing this item to our board. I'm glad that we're going to have a green street. And if you could just, I'm glad that we're doing this project. It's much needed in this area. I'm glad that we're going to be able to remove these Mexican fan palms since they don't bring necessarily as many environmental benefits as other trees do. I will say that for the record. You know, for other complete streets or green streets that we do, we just have to be cognizant of the type of trees that we're going to be removing. So appreciate that. Commissioners, do we have any other questions or comments? All right. Do we have a motion to approve this item? I'll second. Thank you. Ms. Satorsky, we have a motion by Pro Tem Davis and a second by myself.
Great, we'll take the roll call. Vice President Villegas.
Aye.
President Pro Tem Davis.
Aye.
And Commissioner Corsand.
Aye.
All ayes, the item is adopted and carries forthwith.
Thank you. Have a good weekend.
Commissioners.
All right, let's go then to item number 3, and I think we have some. Mr. Williams, you have a public comment on item number 3?
I keep forgetting, sorry, Dr. Tom Williams, El Sereno, speaking on item number 3. Basically need full ADA compliance with all of these contractors. And it's a question as to what they do and how it complies with ADA. So I'd like to make a Public Records Act request for a copy of the standard contract for such work, and specifically any specifications regarding ADA compliance with the small sidewalk contracts. And then also, if you have any past small sidewalk contracts, I would like to see how they were done. That is, I'm doing a PRA for the contracts, the specifications, and specifically for the inspection for ADA compliance, if there was any. So I'm quite concerned regarding ADA compliance with this particular aspect. And you also should define what you mean by small sidewalks as to being the narrow ones or the wide ones or just the length of it. So small is undefined in the presentation so far. So we'd also like to make sure that sidewalks are done in accordance with the Department of Disabilities so that they have some participation in this particular project. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, the next person we have is the person with the letter G.
Mike Greenspan, yes, I found the Santa hat. After all, you've been wonderful. It's June and we got 34 people who are getting nice Christmas gifts. They get contracts from the city. You know, you don't have to go too far to look at sidewalks that are all messed up. Just instead of coming in through the garage, go out the door over there on Main Street. Go across the street. Those things, they built those brick things to contain trees. The trees are just going through them. They're tearing up the sidewalk. I mean, you need to start. It's not a small project, but it's been there for years and years and years since I've been coming to city council. I've mentioned it in front of council committees. You're not the first one I've mentioned this to. So just trying to let you know, as we sometimes go in a garage and out of a garage and never really see what the streets or the sidewalks look like. Now, there's your sidewalk repair is horrendous. And you don't just have sidewalks that are messed up. After the tree root goes to the sidewalk, it starts tearing up the street. And so where people are parking their vehicles, they have to get over bumps because that root keeps going and going and going until somebody goes and kills it from spreading. And nobody ever looks at that when they plant these trees. And also, with all these small contractors, a friend of mine used to do electrical work with the city of LA. And let me tell you, one time he did a job and it took 8 months to get paid. The next time he refused to put a bid out on it. So these are small people, and when you drag your feet on paying them, you hurt them the most. They're not the big guys. And so be sure their paychecks come to them on time for their work in a timely manner.
All right, next person is the person with the letter G. Excuse me, N.
I'm not the letter G, lady. I'm the letter N, as in niggas from Porter Ranch. You know, there are a lot of niggas, rich niggas in Porter Ranch that need to learn to accommodate a white nigger too, like me, for public works inquiry. I like an inquiry made by your ADA coordinator for the Federal Highway Administration and Caltrans niggers. I think you fools have finally jumped into the program after I submitted my claim against Caltrans, you dumb bitches. Doesn't that shake you up when I get the Federal Highway Administration to investigate my claim against Caltrans for Soto and Marengo, where us white niggers need to go for mental health and hospitalization treatment, but we can't because there's no ramps or curb cuts because Porter Ranch bitches don't want them. Yeah, we know how you are. So just like item 4, like item 7, all about sidewalks and streets. And as I mentioned, that Nigger Institute building across the street from where I'm standing, right here on Temple and Broadway, Temple and Hill, whatever you want to call it. I believe it's called the Criminal Court Division, where that fucking judge ruled me with a restraining order because the city of Los Angeles wants to suppress my free speech because I'm a nigga with an attitude. Well, guess what? I want those sidewalk and streets fixed there first because you, under the former mayor, that fucking faggot, Eric Garcetti, said you had a plan to fix our sidewalk and streets. So fix the motherfucking sidewalk and streets and get on a hump on it. And by the way, that Fat Molina Park, you need to fix the sidewalks around the park because they're dangerous, and like grinding shit does not work.
All right, item number 3 is a joint report by Bureau of Engineering and Bureau of Contract Administration, and it's impacting all districts. And this is a construction contract execution, pre-qualified on-call small sidewalk construction and repair services contractors, recommending that the board approve the list of 34 qualified contractors to provide on-call small sidewalk construction and repair services for various public works projects. Number 2, authorize the president or 2 commissioners of the board to execute the construction contracts between the City of Los Angeles and the pre-qualified on-call small sidewalk construction and repair services contractors. The 34 pre-qualified on-call small sidewalk construction and repair services contractors are as followed. Alameda Construction Services, All Land Construction Incorporated, Axiom Group, Blue Nose IT Solutions Incorporated, Champions Structures, Cello Letty Engineering, Christopher Ugonchukwu, doing business as Montes Builders, Cornerstone Construction Design Builders, doing business as Cornerstone Design Build, Duran Concrete, LLC, E&L Gonzalez Engineering Corporation, Elegance Construction Incorporated, Falcon Construction, doing business as Falcon Concrete, Fehoko Concrete Incorporated, Garai Construction Incorporated, Geronimo Concrete Incorporated, Gonzalez Concrete Unlimited, Huhaya Enterprise, doing business as Metro Builders and Engineering Group Limited, JNC Retrofit Construction, Jesus Milgoza, doing business as Ambar Concrete Services, JL Moody Construction and Development Incorporated, Joe G. Medrano, doing business as Maestro Builders Corporation, Little Potato Incorporated, LNA Construction Structures Incorporated, National Pools Incorporated, doing business as NPI Concrete, Nizar Al-Smadi, doing business as We Are Builders, Picture Build, Our Brothers, Reginald M. Johnson, doing business as RMJ General Contractor Services, Rojas Construction, South Cal Groups, SCG Builders, doing business as SCG Builders, Stellar Sidewalk LLC, doing business as Access Construction, TNA Builders, that's Tomovich and Associates, and Via Grande Construction. Number 3, notify the Bureau of Engineering Sidewalk Division, Elliott Choi, area code 213-524-2083, when the contracts are ready to be executed by the board. Upon the execution, request that the city clerk to attest that and certify the original construction contracts. Number 5, determine that the initial order of the PQOC small sidewalk construction and repair services contractors list by a random drawing. And number 6, authorize the city engineer to administer the contracts for on-call sidewalk construction and repair services and assign work packages to the PQOC small sidewalk construction and repair services contractors list. And before us, we have Elliott Choi to present.
Good morning, Commissioners. My name is Elliott Choi from the Bureau of Engineering. The Bureau of Engineering and the Bureau of Contract Administration are excited to be able to jointly offer this community-level contracting opportunity again. So as a reminder, the planned contractors on this list will not be bidding on work packages, but will be assigned them on a rotating basis based on a set list of stipulated prices. The scope of work planned for this list is the construction and repair of an average of 2 to 3 sidewalk repair sites. So back in October, the board authorized the Bureau of Engineering to issue the request for qualifications for this on-call contracting list, and we subsequently issued the RFQ later that month. In December, we received 35 statements of qualifications and began our SOQ reviews. And since then, the BOE and BCA have completed those reviews and determined that 34 of the 35 submittals were eligible and are proposed to be given contracts.
The one firm that was deemed ineligible is due to the fact they are not a contractor and they don't currently hold a license. They were a consultant arborist firm. And having a contracting license is one of the basic requirements of the RFQ. So they have been notified of their disqualification. Although the business inclusion program and the local business preference program requirements were waived for this RFQ, the BCA has verified that 20 of those 34 eligible contractors have one or more city-recognized BIP certification, and seven of those firms are local business enterprises. As another reminder, the three differences from this pre-qualified on-call contracting list versus the original list that was established in 2016 are that the ceiling for the packages have increased from 100,000 to 150,000, and that is again to account for inflation and rising wages since 2016. We have additionally added language that gives us the ability to reissue an RFQ to add additional contractors to the list, provided that we have the funding and interest available. So these are 5-year contracts, and our plan is to do a review around the 2-year mark, pending interest, and we haven't determined exactly how many contractors at the time we plan to add, but I think kind of given the size of the current list, anywhere between 10 and 15 additional contractors that are interested, we'll be keeping track of and adding to the list, provided we have the funding and resources available at the time as well. And lastly, we plan to hold a modified small business-like academy that will be tailored to the scope of work on this list, which will be mandatory for all the first-time bidders that have been identified by the Bureau of Contract Administration. And so BCA conducted their first-time bidder reviews and determined that 23 of the 34 contractors are first-time bidders, which is about 2/3 of the list. And so this training is planned to be a 1-day training event with a morning and afternoon session. All the 23 first-time bidders will be required to attend, though all contractors will be invited. The BOE has been working with BCA and our partners Meriwether and Williams to establish training topics that we plan to cover. And so BCA will be handling a lot of the contractor compliance topics, such as certification, subcontractor approval processes, and submitting of invoices. Meriwether will assist with going over the resources, the free resources that they are able to provide all small contractors, including their contractor development program, bonding, and access to capital. And the Bureau of Engineering will handle a lot of the technical topics, such as going over and reviewing the technical requirements, on-site expectations for construction, RFIs, change orders, etc. And so we plan to hold this training as soon as the contracts are awarded. And I think tentatively, we're looking at the end of July for this training. Lastly, we do have our first 5 work packages that are just about ready to go to be issued pending contract execution. And depending on that randomized order of the list, the issuance will also be pending the contractor attendance of that mandatory Small Business Academy. So for anyone on the list who will be kind of in that first group of first 5 contractors who are not first-time bidders, we'll be able to give them the work packages immediately. But for those who are first-time bidders and haven't identified, we're going to wait till they've attended the mandatory Small Business Like Academy and then award them the packages. Thank you for your time. That concludes my presentation, and myself and some BOE and BCA staff are available to answer any questions.
I appreciate it. Thank you so much. Go ahead, Pro Tem, you have some questions.
Yeah, I wanted to just give some observations. I think that a week or 2 ago, we had some misunderstanding in terms of where we were as a Bureau on the small contracts, small sidewalk construction services contractors. I'm very pleased after having spoken to Ms. McGlinchey to know that in fact we had not forgotten about this particular list. Having said that, we have waited quite a while before implementation of this list. This list could have been implemented a long time ago. And so I'm also equally pleased to know that you have taken an account of that in terms of your plan that you've discussed with us today, that you have made sure that there is an opportunity in which to add additional individual qualified small business contractors to this list. I think that is important. And here's really what I want to say. I think that we spend a lot of time doing business as usual, and we have to do that to do what we need to do. But also, what I would love to have is us to continue to be motivated to organize around our small business contractors and to develop a project that is one that reflects excellence around that category of constituents, because they are equally important in a big dynamic city like Los Angeles. Always the big folk with the big power get what they get, and perhaps they deserve it. But we also deserve to show constituents who trust us to be here that we can work with small businesses, and that Los Angeles can be a place where you can have a small business and also be successful, because the city is the example of being able to work with such groups and create opportunities for them as we create for others. And so my point to you today is I hope that this is only the beginning of our motivation to make sure that small businesses have a consistent and dynamic opportunity to do work in the city of Los Angeles.
Thank you. Mr. Corson, or Commissioner Corson, excuse me.
Thank you. I think, as Dr. Davis said, this is a great opportunity, and I'm glad to see it to come to fruition, especially with so many businesses participating. I think when we had first talked about it, Dr. Davis, we thought it would be only a handful, but we're seeing an appetite now with so many, 30 plus, participating. So it speaks to what the opportunity presents and may end up motivating other bureaus and including Bureau of Engineering to find other ways to break down these contracts and provide more opportunities. So just wanted to acknowledge that on the record that Dr. Davis, I mean, you led this charge in the response from BOE and BCA to bring this to us is fantastic. So thank you. Thank you.
Thank you. And I just wanted to bring BCA over to the microphone also, just to elaborate a little bit more on their involvement with all of the, the potential contractors that we have, and just provide a little bit more context to ensure we're hoping to ensure their success.
Good morning, Commissioners. Linda McGlinchey, Bureau of Contract Administration. Over the course of approximately the last year, we've worked closely with the Bureau of Engineering as well as Meriwether and Williams to first prepare, seek out and prepare potential primes for this opportunity. I think that's reflected in the fact that we have 23 first-time bidders. You know, it's about 67% of the primes. In addition, as Mr. Choi said, we have 38% of these primes are minority business enterprises, 3% women, small businesses, 47% are small businesses. So these are things that we really strive to create opportunities for, and the community level contracting does that. We believe that the Small Business Academy style training that we're going to have after the execution of the contracts will further help these companies be successful. And while the first time bidders are required to attend, any other companies on this list are welcome to attend as well. But this is really to make sure those first time bidders are successful moving forward.
Thank you. And will you be giving trainings of sorts, or will you be giving more like background on contracting with the City of Los Angeles?
So we'll do a little bit on background in terms of contracting with the city, but primarily this training will be for really targeting the first time bidders so that they can be successful on their work packages when they're awarded them. Hopefully it'll go much more smoothly. They won't have as many questions when they get that first work package. And then, yes, we'll certainly let them know about other opportunities to learn more and about contracting with the city. That's the other nice thing we've seen is from the original small sidewalk community level contracting list, we've seen some of those bidders become bidders on our larger contracts. And that's ultimately what we're trying to achieve here.
All right, thank you so much for just your comments and just providing a little bit more characterization. I think it's good just to get it on for the public record, and appreciate just BCA taking the time to help out the contractors. All right, commissioners, do we have any additional questions on this? No. Okay. All right, do we have a motion to approve this item?
Second.
All right. Ms. Satorsky, we have a motion by Pro Tem Davis and a second by Commissioner Corson.
Great. Roll call, starting with you, Vice President Villegas.
Aye.
President Pro Tem Davis.
Aye.
And Commissioner Corsiand.
Aye.
Wonderful. All ayes. The item is adopted and carries forthwith.
Appreciate it. Thank you. All right. Have a good weekend. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. Item number 4, we have public comment on this item. Person with the letter starting with N. Item number 4, public comment. Person with the letter starting with N.
Participate. But this nigga's back. Nigga's back in action. This nigga don't want nobody telling him how to run the city unless you get approved by me, the first white motherfucker too, to tell you what you're doing bad. Now, what item are we on here? Because I've been sitting here for so fucking long, I got a hemorrhoid. Sir, what number are we on here? Number 4, some more motherfucking sidewalks repairs. What's with all this shit? 2022, a contract for $3 million, totaling close to $4 million, and then fuck that. Let's go to 2024. $6 million. You doubled the cost and repairs to our sidewalks and goddamn motherfucking streets after I told you all. The Federal Highway Administration is gonna be up your ass like a flying shit. And the same thing with the Caltran niggers. That governor ain't spending money on repairing our infrastructure with you fools. He's just shoveling money out of the Capitol like if money falls off the fucking trees like his nuts. I think the governor sucks a caucus. I believe the mayor is a caucus. And I think you dickheads deserve a caucus. Because for these type of staggering amount for sidewalk and streets, this should have been a program conditionally repaired on a daily basis the same way that goddamn honorable Mayor Bradley did an excellent job because he was the first black mayor to do shit right for us minorities. Made us work, gave us jobs, he paid us honest livings. We didn't have to go through these struggles like today with the economy so fucked up and Mr. Corson rubbing his head knowing that I'm goddamn right about it. Good thing I don't live in Porter Ranch because I wouldn't come here to deal with you dumb niggers for none of this shit.
All right, the next person for public comment for item number 4 is Mike Greenspan.
Yes, Mike Greenspan. Okay. I noticed one thing off the bat on this. Every council district is getting something except Council District 2. Hey, folks, I live in Council District 2. I'm always commenting on the record that we are left out and you're helping with your paperwork to for me to prove my point. The other 14 districts are getting sidewalk repair. I didn't realize we had such stellar sidewalks. It's a new one on me. I walk all the time, about 3 miles in that area, and I can say, I guess you must be seeing a different district too. Maybe you're seeing the Krikorian end, the Studio City end, all the hoity-toities, but a lot, especially the Sun Valley end, those sidewalks need repair. I was someplace at a credit union, and this couple that had been married 40 years. I mean, they had gray hair, everything else. And this one lady talked about her dad every day walked 6 miles to go to the Burbank courthouse. And so he must have walked some part of LA, and then he tripped on a buckle and was never the same afterward. Now, I walk 3 miles a day, so it made mine look minuscule, but this guy who had to have been, let's see, if someone had been married 40 years, got married maybe 20 to 25, 65, then the dad had to have been in his 80s and walking 6 miles a day. But your bad sidewalks, I'm sure your sidewalks are in worse shape than Burbank's, cause that person to not walk again, cause that person to have mobility problems because your sidewalks just don't get repaired. I mean, we can talk about it, we pay lip service to it, but the reality is that these things called buckles and these things called ski slopes and everything else.
All right, let's move on then to item number 4. I will read this into the record, and this is a motion, and this is BOE, Council Districts 1, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, and 15. Revised funding table, sidewalk repair program, package number 62, design build access request acceleration site project. Recommending that the board approve the revised funding table as authorized source of funding for this project. And for item number 4, we have Mr. Elliot Choi.
Good morning. So this request, this motion is regarding funds that were reprogrammed. So in fiscal year 21-22, the Bureau of Engineering sidewalk repair program received $15 million in funding for access request acceleration. And by the end of the fiscal year 22-23, we had already either spent or programmed that $15 million toward various sidewalk repair projects. Package 62 mentioned in this motion was one of those projects. That was the largest project of the group, which totaled $8.15 million, including contingency. And so during that fiscal year 23-24 budget process, $5 million of that $15 million was reprogrammed into the fiscal year 23-24 account within the same fund. So effectively, that $15 million was reduced to $10 million, and then a new appropriation of $5 million was created in a later fiscal year with the same money. And so this motion is just requesting that we would like to reassociate that $5 million that was moved out of that $15 million with this project. So there will be no change to the project funding or the total associated with the funding. The change is just to reflect the funding source that resulted from a change during the budget process.
Are you done?
Yes, sorry.
That concludes your report.
That does, yes, thank you.
All right, and commissioners, do we have any questions on this item? No. I just have a question. When was this change? When did it arise to your bureau?
It rose to the Bureau about, I believe, 3 or 4 weeks after this project had been awarded.
I can't hear you.
3 or 4 weeks after this project had been awarded. So
After this project?
had been awarded.
Oh, had been awarded.
Yeah.
Yeah, this just came before our board not that long ago. I'm surprised that we're already having a correction.
Yeah, we issued the package, and then the adopted budget came into effect about 2 or 3
I
weeks.
can barely hear you. I'm so sorry.
Sorry, we issued the package 62, and about 3 weeks later, the budget was adopted, and so the change was in effect.
Okay. All right. Next time you present before the board, just give that context, because the motion that's written on here doesn't necessarily specify that.
Yes, we'll do.
All right. Commissioners, do we have any questions on this item?
Are they still doing the construction on the sidewalk?
Yeah, nothing has changed related to the progress of the sidewalk. Nothing was halted. We did have some funding still available in the original source of funds that we've been using to initiate, and so this will just move over and reassociate the remaining amount of funding so that we can just continue on.
And in each of these tasks for the sidewalks of each of the districts, are these large projects or are these medium-sized projects in terms of the scope of work? I'm sorry. In terms of the scope of work on this project, are these medium-sized tasks to be performed in sidewalk repair, or are these kind of smaller tasks of work completion to be done?
So one of the reasons why the amount is so large for this particular package is because I believe there are 50 sites identified for this package, which is, I believe,
There are
the
50
largest
sites, correct.
we've done. But I believe Omar here, my colleague, will be able to answer on the actual size of the sidewalk.
Yes, I understand the volume, and I was trying to ascertain if, in fact, each of the particular tasks in the districts, the work is medium-sized work individually. I know that there may be some difference, and I know that all tasks are not exactly the same. However, I just wanted a kind of educated guess about the tasks that exist in all of these council districts in terms of the work.
Yes, they're average size, so
They're average size.
yeah, so it's the length of the sidewalks, including some utility relocations and pretty much basic sidewalk work that we do to bring them to ADA compliance.
Right, you presented the original
Yes,
proposal
I
to
did.
me,
Yes.
to us rather, the last time. And so then now my question is, could some of this work have been divided up to small businesses if you had wanted it to?
Yeah, this is a design build package. This was it went to the specific access specific.
Mhm.
They were the designer and the builder on this one, and this package was subjected to PLA as well for the size. And yeah, we brought it up. This issue was brought up at the time. Yeah. it
So
was a
what we
fair-
did then, what the Bureau did was put collectively all of the tasks together and then made it a design build project.
Yes.
And
that is
then we were then able to implement project labor agreements to get individual jobs from various people in various areas of the city to contribute to the work to
Ye-
complete it. Is that
yes,
correct?
That's correct.
I see. Okay. Okay. So I think that answers my question. Good. And I think we were able to once again get clarification on the big picture that you and I talked about
Yes,
a
yes.
couple of weeks ago
Yes.
as well. Thank you, sir.
Okay, no problem. Thank you.
Thank you for just additional context on the, while this is a correction, the questions that you had were just on the specific, the work. All right, commissioners, do we have any other questions on this item? I don't see any. Do we have a motion to approve this item?
So moved.
All right, Ms. Satorsky, for item number 4, we have a motion by Commissioner Corsan and a second by Pro Tem Davis.
Okay, we'll take the vote. BP Villegas,
Aye.
President Pro Tem Davis,
Aye.
and Commissioner Corsan.
Aye.
All ayes. The item is adopted and carries forthwith.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Choi. All right, commissioners, we are going to go back to item number 3. Okay, okay. Scratch that. We will continue then with item number 5, and we have Mr. Greenspan for item number 5.
Okay, Mike Greenspan. Now, here we go again. Money. After all, it must grow on trees. I got my gloves over there in the bag. expenditure for the amount of $61,922 for encumbrance of funds for fiscal year 2023-24. Now, we are only 9 days away from fiscal year 2024-25. So we're really behind, folks. Some of the stuff should have been done earlier in the fiscal year. Unless, of course, it's a misprint. Maybe I'm giving you a back door to slide out of it. But we seem to be, what's the old saying, a day late and a dollar short? Well, here we are at the end of the year, fiscally, not calendar-wise, not Jewish holidays or Muslim holidays or anything else. We are at the end of the year fiscally, and here we are going along a project. I really think we should be a little bit more on it, a little bit faster. Now that Sepulveda tunnel, oh my God! If they ever just would tear it down and rebuild it, it would be money well spent, because the tunnel they have right now is just a shithole tunnel. It must have been built at a time when maybe Roosevelt was president or something, or Eisenhower, because it just is not modern. It's just not up to date. And when you have something that has to be torn down and rebuilt, just like the 6th Street Bridge, you have things that have to be torn down and rebuilt, and I've driven that Sepulveda tunnel many times. It's a dark, terrible place, probably dangerous, probably who knows how many accidents would have there. They need to fix it.
All right, and then we also have a person with the letter starting with N for item number 5.
So we got the Bureau of Street Services Board approval and execution expenditures. Well, if you really think about this gear emergency repair, did we just break a quorum? Did we not just break a quorum? Where in the fuck is Teresa?
She has to use your restroom.
Yeah, but you need to stop the clock because we don't have a quorum. And you're violating my civil rights with this
Just for the record,
bullshit, attorney.
she did stop the clock.
And you're going to have to give me 15 seconds after this shit, because technically she needs to say time out or something, but don't run out the door and break a quorum. See, this is what goes on in the city of Los Angeles. You guys break a quorum. You think you could go behind the doors there and do your sneaky business. No. You need to inform the public. We're going to recess for a break because mommy has to go pee-pee or poo-poo. But no, you try to take advantage of us. Speak up, Commissioner. Speak up, Pro Tem. Tell that bitch we know our rights. That's right. Just because the color of my skin is brown and beautiful, not white and dull and blemished and white and she's back. She's back. Bienvenido, Porto Ranchos. See here, the president had to go to the restroom and she broke a quorum. Now she's back and we're on record. But I just had to inform everyone that these Brown Act violations are not unfamiliar, because I've been a target by the city of Los Angeles for years. That's why my mental health has gone to hell. And I have to come in here and rant and point out truths and facts about why this government is so fucked up in the way it deals with the public. But this appropriation of funds for the amount of $61,922 encumbrance of funds for a fiscal year, I find it to be an objection. And my objection for that is that, again, there's no such thing as a critical, urgent, emergency repair. Because if that was the case, everything, like, for example, the 6th Street Bridge would be considered an emergency crisis bill. Because some fucking idiots tore out the copper, stole the copper, or recycle the copper, and now your dumb former mayor, faggot Erica Garcetti, who put the humps on the bridge, should know better. Nothing lasts here in California because California is so fucked up.
All right, then item number 5, and this is an AFE, and this is with Westco. Bureau of Street Services and the Office of Accounting are requesting board approval and execution of an authority for expenditure in the amount of $61,922 for encumbrance of funds for fiscal year 2023-2024 to provide funds for critical and urgent electrical switch gear emergency repair for the Sepulveda Tunnel. Authorize the president or 2 members of the Board of Public Works to execute the contract after the approval as to form has been obtained from the city attorney. And before us for item number 5, we have Rose. We don't. Yeah, my question is for this AFE is encumbrance of funds from a previous year.
Street Services representative on the call. And we have, is anyone on the Zoom attending? I don't see the Street Services representative present on today's call. Anyone here representing item 5?
Okay, I don't hear anyone. We will continue item number 5.
Okay.
And for the record, we did take public comment on item number 5. So when this item is back, we do not need to take public comment again. City Attorney, unless you have different opinion on that, please provide it.
That's correct.
Okay.
You've already taken public comment on that item. So when you bring it back up, no need for further public comment.
I appreciate it. Thank you. All right, then we will continue item number 5, and we will alert Street Services just to have representatives at our board meeting if we have one of their items. All right, then we'll go back to item number 3. I don't know if that was ample time.
Vice President, I would recommend making a motion to reopen that item since it was already voted on.
Thank you. Thank you for that protocol. So item number 3, we will go back to it, and if we can have a second to my motion to reopen item number 3, and this is a joint report with BOE and BCA.
Second.
All right, and Ms. Satorsky, if you could just take a roll call to reopen that item.
Okay, great. Let's take the vote. VP Villegas,
Aye.
President Pro Tem Davis,
Aye.
and Commissioner Corsian.
Aye.
Great. All ayes. The item is adopted.
Okay, thank you. And we are reopening this item, and I was remiss to take a what do you call it?
The drawing.
A draw. Thank you. I saw it on here, and I apologize for not providing that. That's usually what we do. We approved the on-call list of for our for our contractors, and then we need to draw for their numeration. Yeah, the initial order, yeah. We have to determine, we have to execute Directive 5, determine the initial order of the pre-qualified on-call small sidewalk construction and repair services contractors list by a random drawing. Yeah, thank you. Yeah. The list, yeah. We'll do the drawing here. We'll have Commissioner Corsan do the drawing.
Oh,
Yeah. Well, I mean, I am chairing, so I can direct whoever, but I'll take it. Thanks. You don't have a bowl or anything? We'll make do. We'll make do. It's okay. You- Just to give it a good shake. That's all right. Oh. All right. Thank you. So first person on this is Huala Enterprises LTD, doing business as Metro Builders Engineering Group. Next, we have yes, Huala. Next, we have Jesus Melgoza, doing business as Ambar Concrete Services. Then we have LN Concrete Structures Incorporated. Then we have All Land Construction Incorporated. Next, we have Joe G. Madrano, doing business as Maestro Builders Corporation. Next, we have Axiom Group. Next, we have Falcon Construction Incorporated, doing business as Falcon Concrete. Following, we have Garay Construction Incorporated. Then we have Gonzalez Concrete Unlimited. Following, we have Champion Construction, or Champions Construction. Followed by Stellar Sidewalks LLC, doing business as Access Construction. Then we have National Pools, Inc., doing business as NPI Concrete. Followed by Rojas Construction. Valle Grande Construction. We have Tomovich and Associates. Followed by Alameda Construction Services, Inc. Then we have Duran Concrete LLC. We have Reginald M. Johnson, doing business as RMJ General Contract Services. Followed by Blue Nose IT Solutions Incorporated, doing business as Blue Nose Construction. Then we have Fei Hoko Concrete, Inc. Then we have South Cal Group, SCG Builder. Next, we have Nizar Alzmati, doing business as We Are Builders. Followed by Picture Build, Our Brothers, doing business as, no, that's it, just Picture Build, Our Brothers Incorporated. The card here shows Picture Build Our Brothers, and the board report shows Picture Build SBE Our Brothers Incorporated.
Yeah, thank you, President Villegas. My apologies. These are this should be a second bullet point for Our Brothers. So we do have a separate card in there for Our Brothers and one for Picture Build. So I think
right.
my apologies for the typo on the drawing card, but that would just be Picture Build
All right.
on that selection. Thank you.
All right. I will just let you know, this says Picture Build Our Brothers, and you're letting me know that it is two different firms. Is that correct?
That is correct.
All right. So one is Picture Build, and next is Our Brothers. Can you please clarify how many contractors do we have on this list?
There were 34 contractors. There is a separate item drawing card in there that says Our Brothers.
Okay.
On the,
Well, then
on
they're
the
going to
first-
be on
yeah.
here twice, because on here it says Picture Build Our Brothers. I understand what she's asking. I'm just telling you what I'm seeing.
Okay.
On
great.
here, it's listed as one, and then whoever wrote these wrote it also as one. If I call out Our Brothers again, then let me go back. Have we called them out already? We have not? Okay, so then we will give our Picture Build, the next one, and then followed by Our Brothers. Yeah, and if we pick them out again, then I'll just toss it. Yeah. Okay. Is that all right? J&C Retrofit Construction Incorporated. E&L Gonzalez Engineering Corporation. I think we have the same mistake here then. Is TNA Builders the same as Tomovich and Associates? We have, your board letter is incorrect. In terms of the listing, and can be for others viewing it as confusing as it is for me. All right, so then we have TNA Builders, and that's not just a comment, that's a notice to BOE to be more diligent in how they, list these. If it's indeed 34 qualified contractors, I got to go back and double check your work. All right, followed by Christopher Yugo Chu Wu, doing business as Mantis Builders. followed by Geronimo Concrete Inc., and followed by Cello Lati Engineering Incorporated. Then we have Cornerstone Construction Design Build Incorporated, doing business as Cornerstone Design Build. Then we have R Brothers, which I think I have to throw out. Is that correct? Okay. Then we have JL Moody Construction and Development. Then we have Little Potato Incorporated. And then last we have Elegance Construction. And just give me a moment, please. The board report does have 34 contractors with 32 bullets under the number 2 for the 34 small businesses for the sidewalk repair project. All right, I think we are done. Is that correct? Do we vote on the?
Yes, I would take another vote just to close it out.
Okay, I appreciate it. Do we have a motion to approve this item? All right, Ms. Satorsky, we have a motion by Pro Tem Davis and a second by Commissioner Corsan.
Okay, we'll take the roll. Vice President Villegas,
Aye.
President Pro Tem Davis,
Aye.
and Commissioner Corsan.
Aye.
All ayes, the item is adopted and carries forthwith.
Thank you. All right. And Ms. Satorsky, does that clear the desk for today?
That is the end of all our agenda items today.
Thank you. And thank you everyone for joining us. This closes out today's board meeting, and we will not be having a management meeting today. Oh, thank you. Let's go back.
Just open and allow the speaker to make a public comment.
All right. General public comment, we have Carlito Moraz. Carlito Moraz, general public comment. Next, we have John Public. John Public. Following, we have Mr. Williams. Then we have a person starting with the letter I. A person starting with the letter I. All right, then we have Mr. Greenspan.
Okay, Mike Greenspan. Yes, let me do a little roll call over here. Albert Garcia, President. Oops. Susanna Reyes. Oops. Only 3 of you showed up. You folks get $100,000 a year for this job. This is the only board or commission that pays. We expect you to have a good attendance record. Near perfect. And if you don't show up, I'm the kind of person who believes the mayor should replace you with people who will show up. I don't care who you are or where you come from or who's your hunting, fishing, drinking, golfing, tennis buddy. I don't care. If you aren't showing up, you don't belong here. Bookie is for school. This is serious business. So I do like to, I thank the time that Mike Davis ran the meeting, and I thank Teresa Villegas, and excuse me if I mispronounced your name, for stepping up as vice president. But I expect the people to show up. They're getting paid to be on this board. Now, I also want to thank Mr. Corsan. I heard he was the Board of Public Works representative for the Progress Pride flag that they hoisted over there at City Hall for Pride Month. Remember, folks, that guy Ron Smith, he's back. Well, he's back because I mentioned him. He's the one who would get a blowjob for compensation and only got one pack of cigarettes. Everybody else is getting a pay raise. It's time that you respect the white trash. Give them a carton. And if it's one of those queer rabbi dudes, give them 2 cartons. They can afford it. But 1 pack, show some pride, you queers. Give the white trash a better pay for the blowjob.
Thank you. And does that
Now that's the
clear
end
the
of all
desk?
of our items.
Thank you so much. Okay, we are adjourned at 11:54, and again, we will not have a management meeting after this. Thank you.